Time to change the conversation. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard on a lovely, I really have no clue, but I guess it's Friday. Yes, Friday morning. We are here in Laguna Beach, California, really celebrating the day. A day I can't recall the last time I just sat on the beach. All right? You can call me a real son of the beach by sitting on that beach all day. And a very interesting day. We actually had somebody complain about the podcast. That's right. I mean, I don't get everybody who loves the podcast, and we do it every day, come rain or come shine, even if I have to. You have to understand, I'm sitting on a very low chair looking up at a very high TV because my computer screen was destroyed by the Godzilla, and my neck, I can't look up anymore. My neck is just killing me. So, and the conditions here, the computers, the internet is horrible. Everything is bad, okay? We had no lights in the room, the whole thing, and we had somebody who complained that the podcast was too short. So here's what I've done, and here's what I offer to everybody, okay? Everybody who thinks that the podcast is too short, not enough time put into it, and I've been criticized before on that by a nameless individual, also a hopeless individual, who said I don't put enough time into the podcast. That's because that person never heard of the preparation time. But the thing is, I will offer double, that's right, double your money back. Double your money back if you're not happy with the podcast, okay? All you have to do is send me an email, lennymelnick at gmail.com, and yes, you will get double your money back, okay? So it's pretty simple. All right, up and onward we go. And I'm trying to get the chat room back here. I can't, don't know why. Oh, there it is. So wait a second. Did I lose the chat room? I think I did. All right, anyway, double your money back if you, oh, man, sorry, just having some technical difficulties. Double your money back if you would like, if you think that the podcast is not satisfactory, okay? So there you go. Okay. Now, upward and onward we go, moving right along. We have no internet, but that's okay because I know my stuff. Malpal is here. DK Luce is here. I saw the Beach Bum here before. We have Unholy Toledo in the chat room, and away we go. And here's where we're going, okay? Right away. Here's where we're going. Don't forget, double your money back. An ugly night for the Yankees. 13 strikeouts, 4 errors. And they now have to face the Cy Young favorite, Justin Verlander, on Friday night tonight. Their World Series hopes have disintegrated quickly. The Astros on the verge of an epic pitching matchup against the Nats. I got to tell you, on paper, it may be the most exciting pitching matchup in the history of the World Series. And you know who they are. You got the Scherzer, you got the, I mean, it's just unbelievable, all right? So the Yankees have to win 3 in a row, which means that they have to beat Verlander and Cole and win another game in Houston. So the Astros really have that, we'll call it, Andy, a stranglehold, as Andrea has joined me in the bedroom, all right? As we So, Andy, how many hotels have we stayed at together? All right, I now lead the league in hotels stayed at with Andrea. Okay, I lead the league. Okay, so the Astros, look, through 8 innings, I noticed that they had 30 hard hit balls, 15 hard hit percentage of 50%. Hard hit is defined sometimes by a batted ball with an exit velocity of 95 miles per hour or more. Through 8 innings, the Astros had 30 hard hit balls, yeah. So they were killing them. So, all right, so there you go. And also, we had a situation where teams were complaining that the Astros whistle from the dugout. You know, teams are prohibited from signaling to hitters from the dugout by whistling or other means. MLB had an official in the camera well next to the Astros dugout, and one in the back of another dugout, and neither officials nor umpires heard any whistling. I would think that's stupid. In a playoff game with the crowd noise, how do you expect whistling to convey a signal to the batter? I mean, that's bull dinky and poppycock from the word go. Yeah, I mean, and look, I'll tell you, the whole thing about stealing signals and stealing signs, not only Toledo, isn't that what baseball has always been about? I mean, didn't you always, when you played ball, try to steal the other team? What is wrong with trying to steal the other team's signs? So if you're going to argue about stealing signs, that's almost like saying you have to ignore that a pitcher is tipping his pitches. When you find that a pitcher is tipping his pitches, isn't that stealing signs? I mean, what kind of nonsense is that? Steal signs, fine, no problem. Third base coach goes from his hat to his lips to his belt to his glove. I mean, come on. If you know that's the bunt signal, then screw it, man. Change your signs. I don't know. I don't know what the complaint is about stealing signs. I really don't know. Now, when you have somebody in center field, and you remember the general manager for the Chicago White Sox, Williams? I forget his first name. He was a good player when he came up. When he came up, there were reports that he had somebody in center field tipping him off with pitches. And that's illegal. Okay? When you use anything other than your own eyes to steal signs, then that's not good. But if you can pick up the bunt sign, the seal sign, a curveball, a fastball, just by something that the pitcher or the catcher is doing, then by all means, I think that's part of baseball. Okay? And if you convey the information to your teammates in the right, in any manner, then fine. Jeter Luna, are you here? Good morning to Jeter Luna. Just in case. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Jim Leland, he was praised for his unholy Toledo, you get it. There have been ball players in the past who were actually commended for their ability to steal signs. Now, all of a sudden, we're not allowed to steal signs? I mean, what are you supposed to do? If you know that the third base coach is giving the signal for a bunt, you're supposed to ignore it? What are you supposed to do? Supposed to go back? The third baseman's supposed to go back into double play range? No, I don't know. Stealing signals, that's part of the game. I did it in Little League. I was actually pretty good at it, to tell you the truth. I would steal signals all the time. No, not all the time. There weren't a lot of signals, but you know what I mean. So there you go. All right, so I don't know what all the hokey pokey is for that. Okay, the Yankees was suspected the Astros for whistling from their dugout in Game 1. Okay, as a way to convey signs to hitters. Okay, so then again, look, as I said, MLB investigated and found the Astros did not engage in any activity. It's all about, you know what it's gotten to? It gets in your head. They're stealing the signs. The Yankees, they made 4 errors, and they were the most made in a postseason game since Game 2 of 1976 ALCS against the Royals. So the Yankees have always been a pretty decent fielding team in the playoffs, but they made 4 errors. And first baseman DJ LeMahieu and second baseman Gleyber. Andy, could you get me something cold to drink? And if we have any more ginger ale, that's it. Miss, see, I'm the only one who's got a hotel room and a waitress in the hotel room. All right. DJ LeMahieu and Gleyber Torres each have 2 errors last night. First time in MLB postseason history that a team has had 4 errors from the right side of its infield, first baseman and second baseman. So the Yankees' defense kind of betrayed them. I'll tell you what, the Yankees make this comeback down 3-1 with Verlander, Cole going, and then they have to go back to Houston. Boy, it's going to be tough. Well, what's in this drink, sweetheart? Ginger ale. Oh. That is phenomenal. So LeMahieu made 2 errors. Gleyber Torres made 2 errors. Justin Verlander believes that with the Yankees and the Nats and their success, based on their pitching, you know how Major League Baseball is a copycat sport. Remember that. And by the way, I'm having a trivia contest with Buck Davidson, one of the nice people and great photographer. In your opinion, who was the first setup man? Who was the first clear pitcher who got the role called setup man? Okay? Who was the first setup man, the officially announced setup man in the history of Major League Baseball? Anybody want to help me with that? I have an answer, but I'd rather not say until I hear from you. Okay? So Verlander believes that with the success of the Astros and the Nationals, we may, and the whole thing with this relief pitching, based upon what's happened this year, you'd have to think that the success of teams are realizing the importance of starting pitchers who go deep into games. And that could be a big deal. That could be a change in the way Major League Baseball teams look at their pitching staff, going deep into games. Now, Tanaka, once again, who in your opinion was anointed the first ever setup man? Okay? And I don't care how far back you go, but it's got to be somebody who was anointed the first MLB setup man. Okay? If anybody has a clue on that or an opinion on that, let me know. Also, of course, today we got the poll up. Comeback Player of the Year in the National League. This is a tough one. Sonny Gray, Josh Davidson, who I had in the American League yesterday. Josh Donaldson, and Hyun-Shin Ryu. Hyun-Shin Ryu, Josh Donaldson, or Sonny Gray. Who gets the award for Comeback Player of the Year? Okay, so that's an interesting one right there. That's a tough one. Personally, I would have thought Adam Eaton. DK Luce says Adam Eaton. I would have said Hyun-Shin Ryu, who absolutely dominated pitching for at least the first half of the year. So that would be mine. Okay, that would be. Tanaka had just one home run. He allowed one home run in his last 6 postseason starts. And the Astros had just one hit in 19 at-bats with runners in scoring position before Springer hit a 3-run home run. And that probably took the air out of the Yankees. Zach Greinke, who walked only 3.7% of batters that he faced the entire year, that's the third lowest among qualified starting pitchers. As a matter of fact, Zach Greinke never walked more than 3 in any game. Now, he did walk 3 in a five innings versus the Yankees at the end of July. He walked 3 of his first 6 batters yesterday. Unbelievable. He threw 5 consecutive balls. This is Zach Greinke now, throwing 5 consecutive balls before throwing 1 strike in yesterday's game. He had just walked 3 of the first 6 batters, 2 of them on 4 pitches, forcing in a run. Okay? And Greinke walked 3 batters in total in his last 9 starts, including 2 starts in the postseason. Gardner was the 3rd walk in the inning and forced in a run. So how about that for Zach Greinke? Had such a mostly up season, but he had his downs too. The last time, let's see, Zach Greinke actually has walked 3 batters in the first inning for the first time. He did it back in 2007 against the Tigers when he was pitching for the Kansas City Royals. 3 walks in the first inning he had then. Let's see, it was Gary Sheffield, Carlos Guillen, and Craig Monroe. So there you go. That was the last time Zach Greinke walked 3 batters. It's the last time. Okay. Paul Ossenmacher. Unholy Toledo, says Paul Ossenmacher. Now, Malpal first says K-Rod, and then says Mariano Rivera. Now, it's always been my belief that Mariano Rivera was the first setup man for John Wetland. Okay? Having a little beef with that, with Buck Davidson, so it's always been my opinion that Mariano Rivera was the first ever setup man in the history of Major League Baseball, the official one. And Mariano Rivera, yeah, that's right, Mariano Rivera, the first setup man, and he did it for John Wetland. So that's the thing. Okay, now, the last time Zach Greinke walked 4 batters in a game was back in 2018 for the Diamondbacks. He walked Rhys Hoskins, Asdrubal Cabrera, Nick Pivetta, and Cesar Hernandez back in 2008. I think it was early August. And then Greinke has allowed 2+ home runs in each now of his last 3 postseason outings, right? Only one pitcher has allowed multiple homers in 4 straight postseason outings. Only one pitcher has allowed multiple home runs in 4 straight postseason outings. Andrea, who is that pitcher? For the first time in her life, Andrea Lamont says, I don't know. Right? But the caveat was she wasn't listening. Okay? Now, one pitcher has allowed multiple home runs in 4 straight postseason outings. I will leave that. Remind me if I don't tell you. The Yankees had 5 hard hit balls against Zach Greinke's 4-seamer, and that ties them for the most allowed in any start this year. The Yankees had a major league best of almost 92 average exit velocity against 4-seam fastballs in the regular season. I mean, so much can be learned by the analytics, knowing that the Yankees had a 92% average exit velocity against 4-seam fastballs. You would think that the pitching coach and whoever was making these decisions would tell Zach Greinke not to throw that 4-seamer. I'll tell you, analytics has really changed this game. Now, George Springer ended Tanaka's record streak of giving up 2 or fewer runs with a 3-run homer. That's George Springer's. It was George Springer's 13th career postseason home run. That broke a tie with Jose Altuve for the most in Astros postseason history. Those 2 guys have been going back and forth. And last night, telling you, is going to cause them to lose value in. Andy and I have now decided to continue our trip with 1 postseason major. Who is he tied with? Okay, who at 3? He was tied with 2 other pitchers at 3. You're not going to get this because it may be the first time in any podcast that this franchise history. He's got 30. Altuve and Bregman ranked second. They had 3-run home runs in a postseason game since they did it in 2000. It's 30 feet per. All that can be in pocketbook because if Juan Soto starts at cleanup in the World League, I have a feeling. All right, go ahead. What happens? Yeah, it's the most to another stupid podcast. I can't.